If you think Donald Trump can't get any stupider, if you think he can't sink any lower, and if you think Trump is capable of not acting like a 9-year-old playground alpha brat, you would be wrong. And for once, somebody in the mainstream media is calling him out for it. CNN's Anderson Cooper took Trump to the woodshed last night in a moment that shows what the mainstream media could be doing, but isn't. Let's take a quick look.
Harris and running mate Tim Walz are closing out day one of a two-day campaign through Georgia, the state that new polling just put out tonight suggests may be winnable for her in November. Her opponent was not on the trail today, though it was just 2 days ago that the former president's campaign was saying we'd be seeing Trump on steroids, meaning more appearances in battleground states in the days and weeks ahead. Instead, with the exception of visits to Arlington National Cemetery in Detroit on Monday and a taped interview with Dr. Phil last night, the main place to find the former president has been on social media.
Okay, so can I just be the first one to say, Trump, ya burned. And Anderson, what a takedown. Sure, this is going to be too subtle for the MAGA crowd to get, but Cooper here is pointing out that Trump is fundamentally incapable of keeping up with the kind of campaign schedule that Harris and Walz are performing because he's too old, too out of shape, and too uncontrollable. Even if he could try and keep that pace, he's become so undone that he would eventually have a complete and total meltdown at a campaign event. And Team Trump ain't about to let that happen, y'all. So Kamala and Tim, just keep on keeping on in Georgia. Now, sure, it would be nice if the mainstream media would go back to their overwhelming concern about age in this campaign. But of course, you can't have everything in one broadcast. And when you look at the rest of this broadcast, you'll see that perhaps Anderson Cooper is just building the foundation to get to age and mental instability. But for now, he's just going after plain old-fashioned depravity. Let's look.
Yesterday, he was raging against the new indictment that Jack Smith secured in the election interference case. Today, he took it to a whole other level. The former president of the United States, who wants to be the next president, is now directly spreading the slogans of the conspiracy cult QAnon, as well as posting a crude, sexist, and misogynistic slur online. Reposting, to be precise, which means he didn't come up with it himself.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Just have to say again. Translation, Trump is too stupid to come up with depraved insults himself. He has to depend on others for that. Okay, last interruption, I promise.
But liked it so much that he wanted the rest of the world to see it, which is both a gentle introduction and a warning. One posting of several uses two QAnon catchphrases: nothing can stop what is coming, which refers to the so-called mass arrests of so-called deep state members, which in the warped world of QAnon is basically anyone who has irked Donald Trump. Another posting shows President and Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, and Vice President Harris in prison in orange jumpsuits. Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates presumably there for their advocacy of vaccination. Again, this is what the former president of the United States chose to rebroadcast to and amplify for his many followers. He did not look at this stuff, chuckle silently to himself, if that's what he would do, and move on. Instead, he wanted to give it the stamp of approval of the 45th and perhaps the 47th president of the United States. And then there is this, a photo of Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton. The caption, which I'm not going to read out, is demeaning of both women and contains a vulgar reference to oral sex acts. Now remember, again, this is the Republican candidate for president and the 45th president of the United States talking about two women who, no matter what you think of their politics, are two of the most accomplished women in American political history. This is what he chose to amplify, which, as extreme as it is not exactly out of character when it comes to him and women.
She was by far the nastiest to Joe Biden. There was nobody nastier than her.
She was extraordinarily nasty to Kavanaugh. She was nasty to a level that was just a horrible thing. She was probably nastier than even Pocahontas. By the racist Attorney General of New York State, Letitia Peekaboo James. How about Low IQ, Maxine Waters.
Omarosa is obviously the ultimate villain and the nastiest. I think it's a very nasty question when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
Two things to point out that make this piece absolutely brilliant. First, the way Cooper brings home the manner in which a former president and current Republican candidate for the presidency is decidedly and completely inappropriate and unhinged. At the same time, he's demonstrating that Trump is trying to get even more people to crawl out from under the rocks and vote for him, because he is clearly giving up on trying to sway independent voters. His unwavering belief in the sheer volume of stupid people in America would surely win him the approval of P.T. Barnum, but it ain't getting him any voters. And lastly, the montage of Trump insulting women is truly inspiring because it shows two things: how completely unoriginal and unintelligent Trump is, just repeating the same insult again and again. And the insult is exactly out of the mouth of a 9-year-old playground bully. And his fixation on belittling women, one has to wonder what fuels the need to belittle strong women. Looks like classic overcompensation to me. One has to hope that the other networks are watching this takedown and saying, hey, we can do better than that, and then giving it the good old college try. After all, they can't risk this broadcast going viral and the creation of a new verb for taking down a candidate: Cooperside. Until they do, we have to keep pushing for Kamala and keep working for a blue tsunami in Rovember. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.